Hello and welcome to another edition of the First Pitch podcast on Pitcher List. My name is Trevor Hooth, and we have lots of baseball to get into: news, hitting, pitching, the usual. I'm happy to have you here with me. Of course, this is usually Jake Crumpler. He will be back next week, but I am happy to be filling in for him. What do you say we jump right in, start talking a little bit of baseball? In his first game back after being activated from the injured list with an oblique strain, Miguel Amaya was removed from the game in the eighth inning. He hurt his ankle running to first base in the eighth inning of the game. So the Cubs catcher, once again, just returned. This was his first game back. The news after the game was that Amaya does not have a broken bone or anything like that and is classified as a strain. So that is good news relatively. It's not as serious as it could be, but it is unfortunate that Miguel Amaya will be headed back for an injured list stint. Austin Nola passed through waivers for the Rockies after being DFA'd a couple days ago when Chase DeLander returned to the big league roster. So he will now be in AAA for the Rockies. Sticking with the theme of catcher, the Pirates announced that Endy Rodriguez has undergone ulnar nerve transposition surgery. This means he will be done for 2025, but he is expected to be ready for spring training next season. He has had just a lot of injuries since coming up. He was a highly regarded prospect at the time of his debut in 2023, but he just has not been able to stay on the field. I'm wondering if this news that he will not be back for the rest of the season might open a door to see Rafael Flores come up, the guy that they got in the main piece in the David Bednar trade with the Yankees. So certainly interesting to see how that'll play out for Flores. He seems kind of like a similar player, similar profile to Endy Rodriguez. We'll have to see what happens. We do know Endy Rodriguez out for the rest of the season once again with ulnar nerve transposition surgery. Josh Hader is on the IL for the Astros. We've talked about that. There was an update, and the update is that, well, it's going to be longer than the minimum stay. So it is going to be a while, I think, before we see Josh Hader again. His season might be in jeopardy. They have not said that explicitly, but it is going to be more than a couple weeks that he is out. So his IL trip is going to last a little bit. Owen Cassey, one of the Cubs' top prospects, is expected to make his debut today in Toronto. So he will be getting promoted. There will have to be obviously a move made. That news will come, but the news did drop that he will be making his MLB debut. Cassey is a very powerful outfielder who had a strikeout problem in the minors. He has a lot of swing and miss. He's cut down on his strikeouts quite a bit as the season has gone on, but definitely a power strikeout kind of profile. So I hate to call it empty power. I think he's got a little bit more there, but we'll see how he fares against big league arms. Also expected to play today for the first time in a while, Dylan Cruz. He's expected back from the 60-day IL. He'd been recovering from his slow start when that injury occurred. He picked things up a little bit, and of course now getting hurt does not help. He's been out for a long time, but he will be joining that Nationals outfield once again. I'm sure they are happy to have him back. One of baseball's top prospects. His rehab stint kind of went like his beginning of the season did. He started slow and then began to pick things up. But Dylan Cruz is back. Always fun to get some of the top young talents back playing baseball once again. Bailey Falter for the Royals is going to be moving to the bullpen with the return of Michael Lorenzen. So Lorenzen will jump back into that Royals rotation, and Falter, who struggled since joining Kansas City at the trade deadline, is going to be moving to their bullpen and taking on a different role than what he is used to. Moving on to the Chicago White Sox, they've activated Martin Perez from the 60-day IL. He actually appeared in a relief role in yesterday's game. To make room for him, Cam Boozer has been optioned. So that's the active roster spot, and the 40-man roster spot is coming with a DFA of Jared Schuster. And finally, in news, going to New York, the Mets. The Mets are going to promote Nolan McLean for Saturday's game. That is the news coming out of their camp. So on Saturday, Nolan McLean will be making the start for the Mets. That's going to be the rotation spot vacated by Frankie Montas moving to the bullpen. And the news came out that Paul Blackburn is also expected to go to the bullpen when he returns from the IL. That means Nolan McLean can take the spot if he comes up and he performs well, or if he doesn't, they may give Brandon Sproat a shot as well. They have a lot of really fun young pitching. At some point, even if they're desperate, maybe Jonah Tong gets a look. He just got promoted to AAA. I doubt it, but I guess anything's possible. McLean gets the first shot at it. A lot of fun, really good slider, former two-way guy who just started focusing on pitching this year. Love to see it. Going to be very interested to see how his MLB debut goes. One of my favorite pitching prospects personally. So exciting and pumped to see him in a big league uniform as once again Nolan McLean starting for the Mets on Saturday as Frankie Montas heads to the bullpen and Paul Blackburn will be heading to the bullpen as well. Let's take a look at some hitting highlights from yesterday's games. Yanir Diaz, catcher for the Astros, is up to 17 home runs after hitting one in the game yesterday. And over his last 15 games, he's hitting 309 with 4 home runs. It's been a fantastic turnaround for him after having just an extremely slow start to his season. Michael Harris II also had a slow start to his season, but he stays hot. He's been phenomenal in this second half. He's hitting 342 with 7 home runs over his last 30 games. So whatever it was kicked into gear, and Michael Harris II has been really good over the last 30 games or so. After his superhuman first half of the season, Pete Crow Armstrong had another offer, and his second half has just kind of been an extended slump, or at least just a really rough stretch. He's hitting 198 over his last 30 games, and this is a far cry from the extreme production we had in the first half of the season. You like to think he's going to settle somewhere in the middle and not just be a one-half wonder. But when he was on, he was really good. And now that he's not on, it's a little bit rough. Very talented player. We'll see how the hitting comes along as time goes. The Marlins offense scored 13 runs on the strength of Xavier Edwards' second home run of the season. Edwards also added a triple. Graham Pauley hit his 4th home run. He's been hitting really well since taking over everyday reps at third base for Miami. And the story of the game, and I guess the story of the last week, 2 weeks or so, is Jakob Marsee. He continues to just hit the ball. He's been on an insane run. He had 2 home runs in the game yesterday and added a double and a steal. Since his promotion, he's hitting .436 with 3 home runs and 6 stolen bases. So Marsee has just been a man possessed since joining the Marlins roster. Ketel Marte has had a really good pair of games over his last 2 games. He hit a home run for the second game in a row, and in that span, he's got 6 hits with a pair of home runs and 6 RBIs. That's 9 at bats total. 6 hits is he's just seeing the ball really well right now. Kyle Karros, Rockies third baseman prospect they called up recently. He's got 21 at bats since his promotion, and he's hitting .333. So he has been good in the average department. Picked up another 2 hits and 3 at bats in yesterday's game. The only thing is there's no counting stats. He has not hit a home run. He's not stolen a base. So right now it is just average at the moment, and that's kind of where his profile lies. He's a really good hitter, but the power was always somewhat of a question, even with the Coors effect helping him out. Brian Reynolds picked up a pair of home runs, bringing him to 13 on the year. He's hitting .247 for the season. And finally, for hitters, Junior Caminero hit his 34th home run in yesterday's game. And let me tell you, this dude has been on a crazy run over his last 7 games. Over that time, he's hitting .414 with 6 home runs. So to recap, Junior Caminero has 6 home runs over his last 7 games. That is almost a home run a game, which is bonkers. Taking a look at some starting pitching from yesterday, Hunter Brown went 6 and 2/3 innings, struck out four while allowing an earned run, continuing what has been a great year for Brown. Cade Horton for the Cubs struck out eight over 5 and 2/3 innings, allowing one earned run, and he's been good. He's getting better and better as the year goes on, it seems. Over his last 15 games, he's got a 2.89 ERA with 62 strikeouts in 81 innings. Moving on to the Twins, Joe Ryan struck out seven over 6 and 2/3 innings, allowing one earned run. Yuri Perez, he was half of the game of the day that I picked. That did not turn out well for me. But Perez allowed 4 runs, including 2 home runs. He did strike out eight over 5 innings. Gavin Williams on the other side of that also had a rough game. Here's a question. Is Trevor Rogers back? I mean, my goodness. He struck out six, allowing only 1 run over 7 innings. And he has a 1.43 ERA with 60 strikeouts and 69 and a third innings in the 11 games that he's played this year since coming off the IL. He hasn't sniffed success like this since 2021. He's having a great revival season, it seems like, with the Orioles. Hunter Green made his first start since coming off of the injured list, and it was a good one. He was taking on the Phillies. He struck out six over six shutout innings, did not allow a walk, so he had a great game against a pretty good offense, and obviously you can expect that from Hunter Green, but for his first start back from the IL, looks like he's hitting the ground running. Nick Pivetta struck out five over 6 and 2/3 innings, allowing just a run. His season ERA is currently sitting at 2.87. For the Giants, Kai Tang got the start. He lasted only an inning and 2/3, gave up 6 earned runs, and walked four without a strikeout. I cannot imagine he will last too much longer in that rotation. The Giants just have too many options that they could try. They could give Hayden Birdsong another look. They could give Blade Tidwell a look. They just called up Drew Gilbert, who came over in a trade, the same trade that Blade Tidwell did. So those are two of the younger options. They also recently signed JT Brubaker to a minor league deal. He was with the Yankees, has pitched in New York. He was on the IL for a while, but did pitch in New York. So maybe they give him a shot at the rotation if they don't think Birdsong or Tidwell are ready for their big league roster. But they are, I can't imagine that they don't make a move for that rotation soon. A rough outing for Tang. It's not the first one that he's had. We'll see what happens. If they didn't have so many viable options, I think maybe Tang would get a little more run. But I do think that they would have to almost prefer Birdsong, Tidwell, or again, they just signed Brubaker. Maybe they think he could make a difference for them in the short term. But Kai Tang, rough outing in yesterday's games. Troy Melton for the Tigers found his way back into their rotation after moving to the bullpen for a brief minute, it seemed like, following the trade deadline. Melton went 5 shutout innings with 6 strikeouts, and he allowed only a single hit. No walks, just 1 hit allowed, struck out 6 in 5 innings. A fantastic outing for Troy Melton, who has really pitched his way. I mean, he looks like a different pitcher this year almost, as he has very much improved his prospect status, for one, to get up to the big league level, but looks like he has the stuff and the ability to stay in a very good big league role, whatever that may be. But he definitely looks the part of a solid rotation arm for the Tigers and for fantasy purposes. And wrapping up the starters, Shohei Ohtani struck out 7 batters, gave up 4 earned runs over 4 1/3 innings against the Angels in his start. So with that, we're going to take a quick timeout. We come back, going to take a look at the games coming up later today. I appreciate you joining me once again. My name is Trevor Hooth, and this is the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. And welcome back to the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List. My name is Trevor Hooth. Happy to have you here with me, filling in for Jake Crumpler, who does a fantastic job with this, but I guess you just get me, so sorry. That's okay. We're going to keep moving on. Taking a look at the pitching coming up here today. Just a few games tomorrow, so I'm just going to run through the probables. Logan Evans for the Mariners taking on Tomoyuki Sugano for the Orioles. Obviously, I'm a big fan of Evans. He's got really good stuff. He's got high spin on his breakers. There's been some inconsistency with how he's pitched this year, but always always viable to have a very solid outing, it seems. Matthew Boyd taking on Max Scherzer, two former Tiger legends. Boyd is just somehow amazing this year for some reason. I mean, he's just a good pitcher, obviously, but he's really turned things on in a way I don't think we've seen this year. And he's taking on Max Scherzer, who, well, he's Max Scherzer. Moving on, you got the Phillies versus the Nationals. Jesus Luzardo taking on Brad Lord. Hopefully, Luzardo can continue to roll with his good outings. So this isn't one of the not good outings, let's put it. Braves taking on the Mets. Bryce Elder taking on Kodai Senga. Should be a fun one, at least on the Mets side. Elder has shown in spurts that he's a fun arm. Also, some days he's just kind of not. So we'll see what happens. Mets are a tough draw for Elder. Tigers versus Twins. Tarek Skubal taking on Bailey Ober. Always love when Tarek Skubal pitches. Got the Diamondbacks taking on the Rockies in Colorado. Eduardo Rodriguez versus Bradley Blaylock. Not a matchup I would touch for fantasy purposes. And finally, the game of the day for me, Edward Cabrera versus Tanner Bybee. That's the Marlins versus the Guardians. Cabrera has really been good this year. In a way that I haven't seen from him in the past. So the stuff's always been there, but he's put it together a little bit more this year for longer stretches at least. And Tanner Bybee, always a solid bet, it seems like. So that's my matchup of the day, Cabrera versus Bybee. With that, I will see you guys tomorrow. We'll talk about those handful of games that we got and talk more baseball. I appreciate you joining me. This has been another edition of the First Pitch Podcast on Pitcher List.